So this is Should I Stay or Should I Go Lions Free Agent Edition. I'll give you both a name, and then you tell me, should they be a Lion in the future, or should we just let them walk? Sound good?
Sure.
So this one I'm going to answer for you because this guy I'm shipping out of town as of Sunday. The man's name is Kindle Vildor, age 26, and if you can't catch a ball off your face, then you don't belong on my football team.
Jaquiski Tart. I know that feeling. Yes.
Any objection to that, or can we move on to the next one? Because that one I feel like is just a slam dunk, right?
Unfortunate the world got to see one of your biggest mistakes. Yeah.
See it.
Next one here.
I don't think people will be chanting his name at grocery stores.
No, and another one that kind of verges on that territory in my book is the man behind the ski mask, CJ Gardner-Johnson, age 26.
He and Aaron Glenn have a great relationship. If Aaron Glenn's back, this will be a fascinating test for the culture because he doesn't strike me as a Dan Campbell guy. He went out and did the one thing Campbell told him not to do, which is make your personal beef a 15-yard penalty. I think it's a fascinating test. Are they willing to compromise on culture to keep a talent? Because he is talented. He played his worst game of the season in the NFC title game, but I feel like they think there's more there. I think he stays.
See, I think he leaves. I think what he did in the NFC Championship game, it did not cost you anything. I mean, except for him getting trucked by Christian McCaffrey. But other than that, when you made your personal beef and you penalized the team, it tells me that in the biggest moment, you weren't thinking about the other 52 guys on the field with you wearing that same uniform and helmet. You were thinking about yourself. You were thinking about something cheap. You were thinking about something petty. You were not being a team player. And if you have this new culture, I'm all about you got to have some bad guys. But I mean bad guys, but they are about the team.
Yeah.
You're a bad guy who's just about you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't want him back. I just think Glenn will stick up for him.
I don't think Glenn will stick up for him because it wasn't that him and Debo got into this fight and they were swinging at each other and you're just like, well, he stood up for himself. The play was 15 yards ahead of you and you just came and did a cheap shot, blindsided hit.
That was just terrible.
Man, you got to respect the game. You got to respect your team. You got to respect yourself. And he did none of that. So if it were me, nah.
He gone.
Gone.
So we got a guard, 32-year-old Graham Glasgow. Stay or go?
Oh, I want him to stay. He can play center. He can play guard. He sacrificed to come back here, wanted to be here, big culture guy. And they can't lose multiple offensive linemen. That's the strength of the team. I want him to stay.
Yeah, you want him to stay. I mean, the fact that he's like the utility knife, you can put him wherever on that line. Yeah, you want him to stay.
In that same vein, Jonah Jackson, 27.
Price going to be more. Injury concerns. Yeah. In a perfect world, I'd keep him.
Jonah Jackson.
But I don't think they do.
I don't think he stays. Because I think that somebody else is going to offer him a lot more money. Because here's the other thing that you got to remember, Lions fans, because you went this far, now your players are deemed more valuable. We need to go get Jackson and bring him to our line and think of what we could do. You're going to lose a bidding war. If he stayed with the reasonable price, yes. But in the grand scheme of things, with the injuries, this is why you got to draft well and draft his replacement.
He was a third-round pick. The thought is you got to keep that assembly line going. You can't pay every single offensive lineman. He might be one that they can't keep.
The next one, this one has some layers. 29-year-old wide receiver Josh Reynolds. Obviously, we know about the 2 drops, but also I saw him comment saying, I know they want me back. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you guys think?
I think he's back. I'd want him back. I know those drops were terrible, but they were uncharacteristic. He was great picking up first downs and touchdowns. He has rapport with Goff. Maybe you want to add a receiver so he's the number 4, but I think he is still one of the receivers in the room next season.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think it's just emotion. I think he should probably get off social media because people probably said mean and hurtful things to him. But he's been reliable. I mean, most of his catches were for first downs. He was your guy. Yeah, you want to bring him back. Now, once again, this all is on the price tag. But he may not even ask for that much money because he's still feeling bad about dropping those passes. So, yeah, if you can bring him back, Kenny, you absolutely bring him back. All will be forgiven. I don't think he did something that was just so egregious.
This one I'm kind of curious about, not because I want to bring him back, but because we saw what they did last offseason at the kicker position, Michael Badgley. I personally don't care one way or another with Badgley. I hope you go out and find a better kicker, but do you think that they bring him back?
No, you can't bring him back. The reason why you can't bring him back is because of nothing that he really did on the field. You can't bring him back because they don't trust him. In the biggest moments, he was not an option. We're talking, do you go for it? What do you do? What kind of play do you run? But if you bring up the fact, well, you probably should have went out and kicked the field goal. No, absolutely not. You shouldn't feel that way about your kicker. You should feel confident, okay, you know what? Go get the 3 points. 3 points beats nothing. We don't feel that way.
So he was a practice squad kicker for most of the season. So this isn't a guy that I want to stump for. He did make a 54-yarder in their playoff win against the Rams. I don't know what would have happened if he kicked those field goals. I think those decisions were made because they're short yardage and they've been going for it all year. I think if they had Justin Tucker as their kicker, they would have gone for it 4th and 2. So I don't want to stump for a guy who I think is just all right, but he wasn't the problem. I'd have no issue if he was back. But keep an eye on upgrades because that is a position that's going to matter. 2 of their 3 playoff games decided by a field goal or less.
Linebacker 29, Jalen Reeves-Maben.
Germ.
Special
Special teamer. Was he an all-pro or pro bowler at the special team slot?
Yeah, I think he...
Culture guy?
I don't know. Did he make it or was he alternate?
As a special team guy, yeah. I'd want him back. Sure.
Price is good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to bring him back.
What about the reliable backup tackle, Dan Skipper, age 30? Too old? Just a backup depth role?
Swing tackle?
This is truly the price. Here's the thing. You could probably let him go, Kenny, and pick him back up later. I don't think he has any value outside of Detroit. So drop him, go heal up, and we'll probably give you a call at some point in the season and bring you back again.
He's probably one of the final 5 guys that make the roster, just as a swing tackle and familiarity. But they may draft offensive linemen, and he may get squeezed out.
I think people just want him when he walks in the game, and I'm eligible.
Reporting is eligible.
And lastly, unless you guys have any more, I have 2 defensive ends, both 29, Romeo Okwara and Charles Harris.
Yeah, Harris wasn't even active at the end of the season, so I feel like he's definitely gone.
I think, the writing's on the wall. Quora, I don't really know how they feel about him. I would bring him back because you don't really have a ton of help there.
Do you remember when they signed him to that extension a few years ago? Everybody was very excited. It's an indictment that we spent most of this year saying, well, who's opposite Aiden?
Yeah.
So I don't think you bring him back. You're hoping to upgrade that position.
Will you upgrade that position?
You better upgrade that position.
I thought that last year.
I know.
And then you yelled at me.
I didn't yell at you.
We don't need to draft just a nose tackle.
He's not a nose tackle. Give me an edge guy.
All right, well, if you guys are done making fun of each other, that was Lions Edition.
Never. It'll never be over.
Should I stay or should I go?
Haunt him forever.